I'm Gabe. I have a passion for learning about businesses and the visionaries behind them. I'm on a journey to uncover what life events have connected these entrepreneurs with success. This is Connecting the Journey. Welcome to Connecting the Journey. My name's Gabe. And the point of the show, the purpose of the show is simply for us to take a look back where we came from and the lessons we learned so we can move forward with gratitude. Today I've got a good friend of mine, Mark Johnson with JPAR here to have a fun conversation, to see where you came from, learn some things about you that I don't know, and maybe give some lessons.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Gabe, thanks for having me on the show today.
Man, pleasure to have you, Mark. We've been friends for a while. It's fun to see the growth that you've had with JPAR coming in and taking those things to the next level. But, you know, like I said, the point of this show, we want to see where you came from. I only know this little bit about Mark Johnson. Right. What are the things that got you here today and the lessons you learned along the way? So let's just start simple. Like, where are you from? Where'd you grow up at?
Yeah, so I grew up in Colorado Springs.
Okay, beautiful.
I was actually born in Washington, D.C. area. Okay. My dad was a career military officer. Oh. I worked at the Pentagon, and when I was about 10, we moved out to Colorado Springs. Reminds me a lot of Fort Worth.
Small town.
Colorado Springs and Fort Worth could be like sister cities.
It's beautiful.
And
out there.
Beautiful, Western town, and so that's where I grew up.
So you're what branch of the military?
So he was in the Air Force,
okay.
Navy in World War II, and then the Air Force. Afterwards, and then I went through and had through the ROTC program and went and served in the Army.
Really? All right. Where were you stationed at?
My first station was Fort Sam Houston, Texas, in San Antonio.
All right. Well, the Texas roots are deep in you.
That was my first assignment out of college, and that's, Gabe, where I learned grit.
Okay.
That's where I learned grit, because you go to basic training and these guys throw all kinds of stuff at you, right? They purposely get you off balance.
Yeah.
Right? They purposely break you down. They purposely, my journey, that is where the foundation of really all of my leadership and system and structure and business came from, was back to basic training.
Get you outside of your comfort zone.
But also then give you the tools and the equipment on how to deal with it.
Wow.
And how to work with ambiguity, uncertainty. You have a plan. You obviously have a battle plan going in, but I think it was George Patton said, the plan's only as good until the first bullet shot, and then you're in the game.
There you go. Was it a foregone conclusion that you're going to be in the military? Did you know that that's the path you're going to take?
Yeah, I think because of the influence of my father and his successful career in the military, I felt strongly about serving and giving back in that way, and I have no regrets. I am absolutely glad. I didn't choose to make it a career like he did and others have. Have all the respect for those, but
sure.
I would not give that experience up for anything, because that's where I learned grit. And I learned early that your rank doesn't matter. Right? I was a first lieutenant, second lieutenant, a captain, so I had authority and rank. But if you didn't have rapport and leadership skills, your rank only got you so far.
Yeah, exactly.
You had to lead by example.
Yeah. What made you choose the Army over the Air Force?
I applied for ROTC scholarship, and
okay.
that's who accepted me.
Nice. And so 4 years, 8 years, how many tours did you do?
So I did 4 years.
Okay.
And then I went into sales and marketing, and I was recalled to active duty when the first Desert Storm happened. So I walk into my office, I'm in civilian life, and I walk into the office, and my assistant, when I walk in, she looks like a ghost, and her hands are shaking. And she says, "Mark, I just got this fax," and she handed me the fax.
The fax.
And the fax were orders for me to show up Monday.
Wow.
Because of Desert Storm.
Really?
And so I had to leave my family, pack up, go to a local place, get an airline ticket, and show up. And that was, you talk about mental toughness.
Man, all right, so let's unpack that a little bit. So where were you at? What city were you in?
I was in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay, what sales and marketing, what were you doing?
I was working for the Pillsbury Company at the time.
Okay.
And my orders were to report to Fort Carson, Colorado, which was the home of one of the divisions being shipped over, and to be there on Monday. This was a Friday at noon.
Friday at noon and be there on Monday.
Be there on Monday.
All right, what's going through your head? I can't imagine that. I mean, what are you thinking? You've been through training, you've been through grit, you've had some training for this, but this is real.
Right, this is real. So all your training kicks in, right? So the first thing is, okay, this is real. What am I going to do now? Which I didn't realize at the time. Once you're deployed, your benefits for your employers end. So all my family benefits, health, all that stuff ends because you're actually now working for the U.S. government.
And did that kick in? Do the benefits kick in?
The benefits kick into there, but it's different, right? So your doctor today wouldn't be your doctor tomorrow. And
it's like getting a new insurance plan.
Right, and I had, at the time, I had 3 children.
Wow.
You know. Still
and what year is this?
I have to go back and check. Whenever the first Desert Storm is.
So 90s, early 90s? Okay.
So all those practical things kick in. Things you got to think through that you're trained for, like a will, a power of attorney. But I was trained for that. So all those things kicked in. You just got it done. You showed up, and you do your thing.
A Friday and be there on Monday.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what happened? Were you deployed? Did you stay in Fort Collins?
No, because by the time it happened, it was over, right? So typically when you're recalled, what happens is you go to backfill the person who on active duty is going. Okay. So I went to backfill that person's job at Fort Carson, Colorado.
And what was your job?
And I was a medical supply officer.
Okay.
So what we basically did, one of the concepts in the military is when a soldier's injured, there's a chain of care. Right, and the most severe injuries, you want to get them back as close to home as possible, as fast as possible.
Okay.
The other concept is if it's a minor injury, you want to get them fixed and back
in the field.
Back in the field immediately, right? So, but the one concept is to get them all the way back home when it's a very significant injury. So we set up all the supply chain of facilities, support structure, anticipating those soldiers coming back home. Coming back home. Yeah.
Wow, man, that had to be a big shock. How long were you in that?
I was in there for 90 days.
Okay.
And so you talk about mental toughness. Now, the good thing is, because of federal law on those, your employers hold your assignment for you.
Sure.
You may not get the same assignment coming back, but by law it's a similar assignment. But I went back 90 days, welcome back, had the same assignment, went on to a successful career. But that transition's big.
I can imagine. I mean, 90 days. Were you away from your family for 90 days? Yeah. Did you get to visit them?
Yeah, we had some because I was stateside, so it was easy to do. And but nonetheless, it's a major disruption in your life.
Absolutely.
And so mental toughness, and I went back to that grit. If you haven't seen Angela Duckworth's TED Talk on grit, I'd encourage everyone in the audience to go check it out. She explains it better than I can. But when you watch it, it's exactly what the leadership training in the military is all about. It's all about grit. And it kicked in and it worked.
That's awesome. It's good to see that training worked. Yeah. You didn't, thank God you didn't get deployed, but you backfilled, and good to see that be able to kick in.
Yeah.
So back in Minneapolis working for you said Pillsbury Company?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how long were you there?
About 10 years.
Okay. And sales and marketing, how many people did you lead there on that team?
Oh yeah, I had a region and district of about 40 salespeople, and we achieved all kinds of awards and good times. And
Pillsbury Company, so just huge company. I'm sure they do all type of things. But what'd you do? You sell biscuits. You sell.
Yeah, all the refrigerated products that were amazing. So a lot of selling skills and organization skills and marketing skills.
Sure.
Learned in that, and was promoted and relocated to California.
Okay. And
the company got sold. And it's like, hey, you want to come back to Minneapolis, or you want to stay in California? And I stayed in California, chose to get my broker's license, went into real estate, and the rest is history.
Wow. What part of California?
Southern California and Orange County.
Yeah, not a tough decision. Minneapolis winters, California weather.
Yeah. Now, I absolutely loved Minneapolis and the community. It's a wonderful community, but once you're in perfect weather like Orange County, it's kind of hard to leave that.
Tough to go back. What made you pick real estate? So you've been with the Pillsbury Company for 10 years. The company sold.
Yeah.
Probably had lots of options. What drew you to real estate?
Yeah, I think for me it was a low barrier of entry and high opportunity. So it's a way to do entrepreneurship, without having to buy a franchise. You don't have a high capital investment to go, buy a Subway or whatever,
Sure,
right?
Sure.
But still has all those entrepreneurial elements of building a small business.
Yeah.
And became very successful. I think in my first year, the average person sells 4. I sold 26 in my first year.
Wow. That's
properties,
impressive.
Helped buy, sell, or invest in properties. So that was pretty exciting.
I think a real estate agent is probably one of the best examples of a true entrepreneur, because you have to do, when you're starting out, the goal, yes, is to get a team and to have people have their roles. But when you're starting out, you're doing everything.
You do everything. You're the head cook, chief order taker, bottle washer.
And all that with having to deliver such a high level of customer experience to the client, because they expect that, right? They don't care what's going on in the back office. They don't care that all the things you got going on. When you show up, you have to be on no matter what's going on in your life.
Yeah, and that's really, Gabe, what I learned in that experience was they don't care. You have to be on.
On.
That client doesn't care that you just had a baby. They don't care that you just lost a father. I'm being a little over, but basically they don't care.
No, you're there to sell or find them their dream house.
To deliver a result.
Yep.
And so I learned quickly that, while it is a relationship business, they really don't care. You have to deliver the result.
Yep.
And once I got result focused, I learned, Gabe, what was fascinating. What I really learned is, and I learned it from the military and more even so here, that controlling my thoughts became more important.
Sure.
Hey, those thoughts then come in that, I say there's 5 words that kill more dreams for entrepreneurs than anything else, and it's, I don't feel like it. I don't feel like it. And so I don't feel like doing this work today. But if I don't feel like it, I'm not going to get paid and get the family fed, right? Yep. So I learned that, hey, I may have that thought as I don't feel like it, but I learned to kind of, okay, I can understand I don't feel like it. Then I could reject it. Here's why I'm going to reject that thought, because it's not going to feed my family, and I could redirect it.
Yep.
So I learned I could accept my thought, reject it, and redirect it. And once I found that habit pattern, I could get over the I don't feel like it and keep moving forward.
Yeah. That rings really true in the situation that we're in right now. Yeah. It's like there's so many things that we cannot control, right?
Totally.
And if you can just be laser focused on what you can control, and that's your thoughts. Number one, your thoughts turn into your behaviors, and behaviors turn into your actions. If you can master that and understand that, life is a lot easier, because there's so many things, especially in what we're going through today, that you just simply have no control over.
Yeah. And Gabe, it's great that you mentioned that, because I really struggled with this for a while. I really struggled that, why am I having these thoughts? Why am I thinking I don't feel like doing this work, to create clients today? I don't want to make the phone calls. I don't want to write the handwritten personal notes. Once I finally got comfortable that it's just a thought, I'm going to stop judging it. Okay, I accept it. Yeah, great. I don't feel like it. But then I learned that I could reject it and redirect it. And once I learned that it was okay, I wanted to stop them.
Yeah, because there's a lot of, you're like, this is what I want to do. This is the role I'm in. I'm not supposed to be thinking those things,
right?
But you absolutely are.
They're going to come.
They're going to come, and you have to, like you said, you have to be able to accept them, reject them, but most importantly, redirect them and reframe them in a positive manner.
I wish we could do like the cartoon where they have the devil on this side and the angel on this side, and they're both right. I kind of visualize that sometime, and I can take that devil one and just like
slap them away,
right. Reject it, and then redirect. And so that's been powerful. That's one of the things in my journey that I think has really been powerful.
Absolutely, man. I'm a huge believer in that. Tell me a good story though. Let's go back to when you first started. Now you're leading a great real estate organization. Right. But when you first started, give me a story when you thought that this wasn't for you, that you were close to throwing in the towel.
Oh yeah.
And you persevered through it.
Yeah, I think we've all had that experience when you have the customer that you just can't make happy, right? The customer that you just can't make happy, and I had a few of those that were just so demanding, and so unreasonable in their approach. Obviously, because they had other things going on in their life. It's so easy to internalize it that it's you, when in fact it's really them.
Yes.
As long as you know you're doing your job, you're delivering the service, and those things. And so I had a few of those at the beginning that were very, very difficult. I'm actually now grateful that I had them because it helped me learn that in real estate about every 90 days, the best thing is you get a new set of clients.
Yep.
And then it also started to give me confidence that as I started to build my sea legs and build my business, that I could choose who I worked with.
Power of choice.
Power of choice.
Very true, man.
Now, when I first started, I didn't feel I had that power because
you want to get everything you can.
I wanted to
make
get everything I
happy.
can and feed my family and pay the bills.
Yeah.
And once I learned, okay, now that I've gone through the experience, which I'm grateful for, and now that I have a little more sea legs, I could start to pick and choose, and I could start to see the indicators of who might be a really difficult client.
Yeah. And that's another, just to piggyback on the thought process, like that's okay. In life and business, whatever, people, not everybody are like. That's a great thing, but we're all different, right?
Yeah.
And for me, it's almost a feeling. It's a spark. It's a connection that I know that my values line up with this person, right? And there's been times where they do and they don't. And as you get older and you see that, you just know. And it's okay to go, you know what, Mr. Client, you're not for me, right? That's okay. But when you're starting out and you want to get all the business, sometimes it's difficult to understand that it's okay to say no.
Well, and Gabe, as you know, as being an entrepreneur, it's tough because you have bills to pay and overhead, and you want to do it all.
You want it all, yeah.
And sometimes that just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to say no, but most of the time it pays off in the long run. Both for you, but also for that client, because if it's not a fit for you, it's not going to be a fit for them either. Yeah. So.
And when you think about it, Gabe, it comes back to your thing. You have to be on, right? So you have to have high energy, high customer responsive rates. And if you have something that's draining you, you've got to.
Yeah, you got to get rid of it.
You got to get rid of it.
Right. You want a customer that's giving you energy, that's encouraging you.
Yeah, that it's a good relationship back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah. So 10 years you did that in Southern California?
Yeah.
And then what was your next step?
And so I had an opportunity to work with one of the leading coaches in the real estate industry, Tom Ferry International. And I spent 10 years doing that, working primarily helping agents, teams, owners, broker owners, and managers build and develop their business. A great experience, great model. It's how I met JP. And I met JP through that relationship, and we started talking once a month. And back like over the last 9 years, we talked every month.
So you met him early on when you?
Oh yeah.
So how long have you known JP?
Since he started the firm.
Okay.
And because he reached out to us for some of the training and development we did for the agents, almost from the very beginning when he was in the garage.
He was. I remember that he was always early on, big on coaching, and it sounds like he went to the top. He went to the best.
Yeah, and when he started, he just like you and I said, he was the coach, the trainer, the accounting person, the broker. He did all of those things. And a little over 3 years ago. He reached out and said, gosh, I've grown this thing. I'm working so much. And I said, well, we got the blueprint. Let me send you the blueprint. And about a week later, he says, on this blueprint, there's this
hole.
This hole here, and I think I know the person to fill it. I said, great, who? And he said, you.
What went through your head?
And I said, well, that's JP. That's not the plan. Let's talk other options. And then one thing or another. I made one hell of a move from Orange County to Dallas, Texas, and here I am, and wrote a book about it.
Yeah. What was your? I mean, so you had a good career with Tom, right? This is a huge leap of faith. Granted, you were teaching people how to do this with Tom, but I mean, and JP is very charismatic and very convincing.
Yeah.
But I mean, what was the decision making process for you to make that leap?
Well, so here's the key thing. When you're coaching and advising someone to do it, you're not doing it, right?
Sure.
What I wanted to do was add to my career portfolio the doing it.
Okay.
Even though I had done it, right?
Sure.
This is at a much higher level. You know, as the CEO of a major, you know, we're the 50th largest real estate broker in America. Doing that and then also having that experience, you put those two together, it's pretty powerful.
Yeah, not just being the teacher, but being the operator, the executor.
So now that I've done both of those, you know, all of those things that have come together make me so much more valuable to each of our agents.
Sure.
In what we're providing in a very unique experience.
So, you know, I've been fortunate enough to see JPAR grow from a little baby to what it is now. And I didn't know that you'd known JP for that long, that you've been with Tom. But what do you think makes, I have my own opinion, but what do you think makes JPAR different from other brokerages?
Yeah, I think there's two things that lead to four things.
Okay.
JP founded the firm with two very core values, productivity and service. That's having the most productive agents, having a standard of productivity, and service, meaning not only us giving back to our communities. That's led to two key core values that we have, which is exceeding expectations and being agent focused. So everything in JPAR is about the agent. We deliver and exceed expectations to the agent. When we do so, they exceed expectations to the consumer. So we're very clear on who our customer is,
right?
Which is the JPAR agent,
right?
And everything in the firm revolves around helping the agent be more productive, serving, giving back to their community, exceeding all their expectations, and that translates into this amazing culture.
And that's the culture would be my one word, and you said that, and culture, education, but it adds up to just giving that value to the agent, making them feel confident for them to go and serve their client.
Yeah, so they can be at the highest production level as possible.
Yeah,
you know, it got me thinking during COVID and everything we're going through, we're actually unit sales are up 11%.
Really?
And I tell other leaders that, and they look at me like, well, how did you do that? Well, it started with the culture and the values that JP founded the firm with. But when COVID hit, we went into massive action. Communicate, communicate, communicate. What do we know? What don't we know? What don't we need to know?
Right.
Right? What really matters right now? And we did that daily. And then we started a morning club, where we had people get together and we just basically had coffee and had a morning
kept that connection going.
Water cooler connection.
Yep.
Then we added some comedy nights.
Those were funny.
I found a couple comedians who were at first a little hesitant because they were used to live audiences. How are we going to do this by Zoom and virtual? I said, let me coach you through it. And so we did two fun nights that kind of broke up the seriousness of all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got into done is better than perfect, right? And so we got into a couple key things that I think in our culture just allowed us to continue to move forward and control what we could and let go of the rest.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you had some really good, the morning club, I think you turned those into some interviews. You had some great interviews, great content for people. And again, that's giving back. That's giving positive energy back to the agents so they can get through it, so they can serve their client.
When you think about it, Gabe, and it starts with how JP founded the firm, is value. The more value we provide to our agent, and we pour into them, we add value. We sit around all day and think, how can we add more value? How can we add more value? And guess what? They start thinking how they can give more value to their consumers. Yep. And so it works down the line because we're basically a culture of adding value.
That's what I tell Mom. When we have start groups, I spend time with them, and they add, part of things, what's your role? And my role is simply to add value to you, to our clients, to our partners, everyone. If you do that, everything kind of works out, So let me ask you this question. So you went from being the teacher to the doer. So what was the biggest challenge with that? Because you had 9 years of helping people succeed, being the coach. Like that's a big transition. What was your biggest challenge moving from that teacher role to the doer role?
Well, I was so good at it that the transition was easy. So that may sound a little cocky.
Sure. A little bit, but that's okay. Tell me why. Tell me why.
Yeah. So I think I'm blessed and I'm grateful for naturally being gifted in this area. And so once we all come in tune with our natural gifts, things start to work out. When we start to fight our natural gifts and do things, like I'm never going to be a professional quarterback. Right? If I go to try to be a professional quarterback, maybe I could be competent.
Sure.
But I'm never going to play for the Dallas Cowboys, right? And so I think for me, it wasn't as big as a struggle as maybe you think. It really was quite natural.
Did you really, so my word for that is unique ability. Like the thing that gives you energy, the things you're great at, everything else is crap. Like everything else is crap for you, but it's someone else's unique ability. But did you move from really being a coach to really being a coach? Because what you do now, you went from coaching all these brokerages to really coaching JPAR.
Staff, and we have 40 staff members, right? So now you're really a coach of the staff that's delivering the service.
Sure.
So it's just a higher level of coaching, right? And a higher level of accountability. But the same processes are there, whether it's the EOS system, Entrepreneur Operating System, or it's 4DX, which we use, which is, have a wildly important goal, know what your leading indicator is.
Yep, lagging indicators.
Right, and having a scoreboard, or you're winning or losing, and having some accountability. Yep. So those things just came naturally to me.
You know what EOS and 4DX does is with the scoreboard and the accountability, it again goes back to that principle of it allows you to control what you can control, right? The goal is to move those KPIs. The goal is to go after that wig or the rocks. Yeah. And everything else is crap. Everything else, if it's not getting me to the wig, if it's not getting me to the rock, then I don't want it in my head. I don't want it in my lane. I want to be able to control what I'm thinking. Yeah.
And so one thing that came to mind that you may not know about me is, so I'm kind of an adventure athlete.
Okay.
So I started a number of years ago. I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, the world's tallest freestanding mountain in Africa, Tanzania.
I did not know that.
Did the LA Marathon. I've done the world's biggest border-to-border bicycle run from the entire state of Iowa. Right? You ride your bicycle.
Wow. How many miles was that?
550 miles in 6 days.
Oh, wow.
I think I've completed 9 or so Spartan races, including the trifecta. But my point is not to brag about those or whatever, but see that I'm playing a game.
Sure.
Right? When you play the game of a Spartan race or climbing a mountain, you kind of figure the goal and work backwards.
Yeah.
Well, I just go to work every day and play the game of business.
The goal.
It's just a different game.
Yeah.
We're playing the game of business, and we can try and gamify it, make it some fun, know if we're winning or losing, just like we're going to go play football this weekend or whatever.
Sure. Yeah. It is. Another great book on that is The Great Game of Business. It is a game, and you have a scoreboard, and you can control what you can control in that situation. And if you have that mindset, like you said earlier, start with yes and figure it out along the way.
Yeah, we work backwards from yes.
Yeah. What are you most looking forward to coming out of this experience we've had with COVID over the last 6 months?
I guess the more experience I get, the more comfortable I get with uncertainty. Mm-hmm. I don't know what December is going to look like or the first quarter of 2021 is going to look like, but I do know what we can control.
Yeah.
I do know what value we can add to our associates and to our partners, like we're also business partners. Thank you for for serving our agents and customers so well for Utility Concierge.
Well, thank you. We enjoy and appreciate our partnership for sure.
So I don't know what all that means, but I do know that we can control the value we bring. We can control understanding what's happening in the market and rates. Right now, Gabe, the biggest issue we're facing is there's just enough sellers who are willing to sell for the buyers who want to buy.
So inventory.
I was just showing the guys out before we started the chart inventory. It's just a straight deadline drop. And there's just simply not enough inventory. The houses that are available for sale are just gone.
Just getting, because people maybe they're, if they were planning on selling, they're going to hold off, and people are definitely flocking here from California and New York.
But it's really all over the country. No matter where you look, there's an inventory shortage with the lowest interest rates, in recorded history. Basically,
Sure.
It's basically free money, and now with many businesses saying that they probably won't go back to their corporate headquarters, or their corporate headquarters will be significantly downsized. They're allowing folks to move to locations that maybe they wouldn't consider before.
Yeah. I think the work environment's going to be really, really interesting, because we're finding out things that you thought could never be done remotely or from home, or not only being done remotely from home, but they're being done better.
With better quality of life.
Better quality of life. The thing I'm most proud about our team, if I want to brag a little bit, is that we were more productive, we were more accountable, we were effective. But the biggest thing when I talk to people is that they were happy. Like their happiness level just went up. And if you look about it, we give our clients back, we save them time, money, and stress. And that's really what we were able to do for our employees, being able to switch from work from home. We gave them time back with their family. They didn't have to stress over having a job, right? And man, being able to work from home, people are saving a ton of money.
They're saving money, and they're saving the stress. I mean, no matter what city you're in, the drive-by commute sucks.
Yeah.
Right? And so all of that stress actually has been a benefit. Many people are grateful for that. Now, there's been other things that have not been so good. So we're really focused on done is better than perfect, controlling what we can control, communicating and communicating and communicating.
Yeah.
Where that leads us so far, we're up about 11% year over year on units. Not anywhere near where we wanted to be, but given what we went through, being any business that's up is
pretty good.
Pretty good. So, long-winded answer to your question is I don't know, but we're going to keep focused on the right things. And
well, that's awesome, Mark. Well, look, I appreciate you spending time with us. We learned a lot of things about you. I didn't know you're a venture athlete. Didn't know you're in the Army. And it's funny to look back and go, that really started with that grit, and that grit carried you on through your career. And, I had that question, what was the hardest thing switching? But really, you just became a higher level coach.
Became a higher level coach.
So, man, thanks for spending some time with me. Really enjoyed it. Appreciate our friendship, appreciate our partnership. And look, we can't control the future, but I sure am looking forward to it.
We can win the day.
Yes, we can. Thanks for joining us on Connect the Journey, where we look back at the past to see where we came from so we can move forward with gratitude. I hope you have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon.